What would you do if the person you trusted most turned out to be your greatest enemy? Elena Harper stood at the edge of her penthouse balcony, the city skyline glittering like a promise she'd fought to keep. At 42, she was the secret CEO of Nexus Innovations, a tech empire she'd built from a single line of code in her dorm room. To the world, she was just Elena, the unassuming fiancée of Daniel Langston, heir to a real estate dynasty. Only a handful of trusted allies knew her true identitous secret she guarded fiercely to protect her company from corporate sharks and prying eyes. But tonight, her carefully constructed world was about to unravel. Elena adjusted the diamond ring on her finger, a gift from Daniel, and steeled herself for dinner. It wasn't the meal that unnerved her, it was her future mother-in-law, Vivian Langston. Vivian was a force of nature, a socialite with a tongue sharper than a blade and a knack for sniffing out weaknesses. From their first meeting, Vivian had made it clear she disapproved of Elena, dismissing her as a nobody unfit for her son. Elena endured the barbs with a smile, knowing Vivian's disdain was rooted in her ignorance of Elena's true power. But tonight, Vivian had insisted on a private dinner at her sprawling estate, claiming she wanted to welcome Elena to the family. Elena wasn't fooled. Vivian was plotting something. The dining room was a cathedral of opulence, with chandeliers casting golden light over a mahogany table. Vivian sat at the head, her silver hair immaculate, her eyes glinting with malice. Daniel, ever the peacemaker, squeezed Elena's hand under the table, his warm smile a fleeting comfort. Across from them sat Vivian's loyal confidant, Margaret, a mousy woman whose nervous glances set Elena on edge. The air was thick with tension, the clink of silverware sounding like warning bells. Vivian wasted no time. "Elena, dear," she purred, her voice dripping with condescension. "Tell me again about your little job. What is it you do? Something with computers?" Her smile was a trap, daring Elena to reveal more than she should. Elena's pulse quickened, but her face remained serene. "I consult for tech startups," she said smoothly, the lie as polished as the crystal glass in her hand. "Helping them scale, that sort of thing." Vivian's lips curled. How quaint. "Daniel, you deserve someone with ambition, don't you think?" Daniel's jaw tightened, but before he could respond, Margaret piped up, her voice trembling. "Mrs. Langston, perhaps we should focus on the wedding plans?" It was an odd interruption, and Elena's instincts flared. Margaret's eyes darted to Vivian, then to the floor, as if she were hiding something. Elena leaned forward, her tone light but probing. "Margaret, you seem nervous. Everything okay?" The room stilled. Margaret's hands shook as she reached for her water glass, nearly spilling it. Vivian's smile faltered, but she recovered quickly. "Oh, Margaret's just tired. She's been helping me with a little project." "A project?" Elena asked, her curiosity piqued. Vivian waved a dismissive hand. "Nothing you'd understand, dear. Just family business." The words stung, but Elena let them slide. She'd spent years outsmarting boardroom rivals. She could handle Vivian. As the meal progressed, Vivian's attacks grew bolder, questioning Elena's background, her education, even her intentions with Daniel. Each jab was a calculated move to provoke her, to expose a crack in her facade. But Elena remained composed, deflecting with charm and wit, all while watching Margaret's odd behavior. The woman was practically unraveling, her fingers twisting the napkin into knots. Then came the twist. As the dessert course arrived, Margaret stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "I can't do this anymore," she blurted, her voice cracking. All eyes turned to her. "Vivian, you promised no one would get hurt." Elena's heart raced. Daniel frowned, confused. "Margaret, what are you talking about?" Vivian's face drained of color. "Sit down, Margaret," she hissed, but the damage was done. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. "She hired someone to dig into your past, Elena. She wanted dirt to break you and Daniel apart. But they found something else. Something big." Elena's mind raced. Her secret identity as Nexus's CEO was buried under layers of proxies and NDAs. Could Vivian have uncovered it? Or was this about something else? She kept her expression neutral, but her grip on Daniel's hand tightened. "Margaret, enough!" Vivian snapped, slamming her hand on the table. "You're embarrassing yourself." But Margaret was beyond stopping. "It's not just about Elena. Vivian's been working with someone dangerous. They're not just after you, Elena. They're after Nexus." The name hit like a thunderbolt. Daniel turned to Elena, his brow furrowed. "Nexus? The tech company? What does that have to do with you?" Before Elena could respond, the dining room doors burst open. 3 figures in dark suits stormed in, their badges gleaming under the chandelier light. "FBI," the lead agent barked. "Vivian Langston, you're under arrest for conspiracy and corporate espionage." Chaos erupted. Daniel leapt to his feet, shielding Elena instinctively. Vivian's face twisted in fury, but she didn't resist as the agents cuffed her. Margaret sobbed, collapsing into her chair. Elena's mind spun, piecing together the puzzle. Vivian had been digging into her life, but she'd stumbled into something far bigger, a scheme that threatened not just Elena's secret, but her entire company. The lead agent, a woman with steel-gray eyes, approached Elena. "Ms. Harper, we need to talk. We've been tracking a syndicate targeting Nexus Innovations. Vivian was their pawn, feeding them intel. But you're the real target." Elena's stomach dropped. Her secret was out, at least to the FBI. She glanced at Daniel, whose face was a mix of shock and betrayal. "Elena, what's going on? Are you involved with Nexus?" She took a deep breath, the weight of her double life crashing down. "I'm not just involved," she said softly, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "I'm the CEO. I've been hiding it to protect the company and us." Daniel's eyes widened, but before he could speak, the agent continued. "Vivian's contact is someone inside Nexus, Ms. Harper. A traitor. We need your help to find them." The revelation hit Elena like a punch. A traitor within her own company? Someone she trusted? Her mind raced through her inner circle, her CFO, her head of R&D, her assistant. Who could it be? As the agents led Vivian away, Elena turned to Margaret, who was still trembling. "You knew," Elena said, her voice low but firm. "Why didn't you come to me?" Margaret's voice was barely a whisper. "I was scared. Vivian said they'd ruin me if I talked. But when I saw you tonight, so strong, so kind, I couldn't let her win." Elena's heart softened. Margaret wasn't a villain, just a woman caught in a web of fear. She placed a hand on Margaret's shoulder. "You did the right thing." Daniel pulled Elena aside, his expression torn. "Why didn't you tell me? All this time, you were this powerhouse, and I had no idea." Elena's eyes glistened. "I wanted to protect you, and I was afraid you'd see me differently." He took her hands, his voice steady. "I see you now, Elena, and I'm proud of you." The FBI's investigation would take months, and Elena knew the road ahead would be brutal. The traitor within Nexus was still out there, and her secret was no longer safe. But as she stood with Daniel, their hands intertwined, she felt a flicker of hope. She'd outsmarted Vivian, not with lies or manipulation, but with courage and truth. And now, with the real villain exposed, she was ready to face whatever came next. The city skyline glowed beyond the estate, a reminder of the empire she'd built and the love she'd fought for. Elena Harper wasn't just a siege, was a survivor. And no monster, in-law or otherwise, could take that from her.